Tonight, the north gets ready for Cyclone Kimi. The system intensifies to a Category 2 storm as it moves south. Its path is unpredictable, though, leaving residents on high alert. Good work, Queensland. Greater Brisbane on track to have COVID restrictions eased on Friday with no new cases of community transmission. Tennis stars pleas for special treatment in hotel quarantine get grand slammed as a new case sends the Australian Open into chaos. Fears of a threat from within. Thousands of National Guard troops are being vetted by the FBI as American cities prepare for Inauguration Day violence. And more pain to come. The Broncos say their young forward will face sanctions after his drunken arrest in a Tweed Heads park.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Hugh Riminton.
Good evening. An erratic Category 2 cyclone is menacing the tropical Queensland coast tonight as authorities prepare for the second big weather event of the summer so far. Cyclone Kimi's movements are filled with uncertainty, but a popular tourist island has already been evacuated and a number of urgent flood warnings issued as residents brace to see how it all unfolds over the next 24 hours.
Trouble in the tropics as an unwelcome visitor bears down on the coast.
Yeah, Cyclone Kimi is doing a bit of a tour of far north Queensland at the moment and has started putting us on alert.
Kimi is proving an unpredictable beast, having changed its track a number of times already. The warning area is massive, stretching from Ayr to Innisfail, where the only way to get around in some areas is by tractor after weeks of flooding rain. More than 200 people were evacuated from Fitzroy Island off Cairns as a precaution, while regional harbour masters have issued cyclone alerts for vessel operators at several ports, including Cairns, Port Douglas and Cooktown, closing them to anything but emergency services.
But it is important for the community to stay connected and listen to the messaging all day.
The cyclone is expected to bring gales of up to 150 kilometres an hour and a dangerous storm tide along with it.
When the time comes and if we see a landfall in the areas that are impacted, people must be prepared to shelter in place.
The timing could not be worse, with the Herbert, Murray and Tully River catchments already saturated by ex-tropical cyclone Imogen at the start of the month.
They were just in major or minor flood warnings, so they're already full catchments. So more range into that area will create localised flooding or even flash flooding.
We're expecting, but we can't guarantee, but where the cyclone's going, the Bruce Highway will be cut in areas and can create delays.
It's nothing new for communities in the far north. Sandbagging depots are up and running as residents tie up anything that isn't nailed down. Swift water rescue crews are ready to go.
And aircraft on standby to move them as the cyclone tracks to different locations.
As we wait to see what Kimi does next, Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
Well, let's go to our weather expert, Josh Holt now. Josh, how is Kimi tracking tonight?
Good evening, Hugh. Well, Kimi right now is 195 kilometres northeast of Townsville, tracking in a south-southeasterly direction at 15 kilometres per hour. The cyclone watch area has now been extended further southwards towards Bowen, and a cyclone warning is in place from Innisfail all the way through to Ayr. You can see the amount of cloud associated with Kimi at the moment. And taking a look at the latest radar echo, you can actually see a well-defined eye here as the system spins in that clockwise formation, as tropical cyclones do in the southern hemisphere. One thing is for sure, we've seen plenty of heavy rainfall. In fact, as we just heard in Brendan's package, the catchment is already saturated, and now we're getting rainfall totals around Innisfail at 184 millimetres, and even Bulgan Creek near Tully picking up 112 millimetres to 9 o'clock this morning. Now, as mentioned, it's taking a south-southeasterly track at the moment at 15 kilometres per hour, but it is forecast to stall off the coast tonight. As it does so, it will hover just off the far north coast and possibly track back northwards as we get through tomorrow. But one thing is for certain, we're going to see very heavy rainfall across this area of Queensland, upwards of 400 to 500 millimetres possible over the next few days. Flood watches are in place, and Hugh will have further weather details on this immense weather system coming up shortly in the bulletin.
Thank you, Josh, very much. Well, restrictions are on track to ease across Greater Brisbane after Queensland recorded another day of no community transmission. Our state political reporter Claire Barnes joins us now. Claire, though, we're not quite out of the woods just yet, are we?
Yeah, well, Hugh, Brisbane's clear run will need to continue for the next couple of days before those restrictions around venues and gatherings are lifted on Friday. The state recorded just one new case overnight, a woman who had returned from Brazil who was already in hotel quarantine. It means there's been no further spread of the UK strain of the virus linked to a cleaner at the Hotel Grand Chancellor. So while things are looking great right now, the Chief Health Officer has again warned Brisbane residents to remain vigilant, particularly over the next couple of days, and continue to wear masks.
That if you're in a crowded space, if you can't maintain social distancing, that you really wear a mask, particularly on public transport and if you're going into any shopping centres. I think that will help us all as we go forward.
Police have also praised Brisbane residents for their compliance, with no fines handed out in the past 24 hours. Hugh?
Good news, Claire, thank you. The Australian Open has spiralled deeper into crisis with a player among the 4 latest COVID-19 cases currently in hotel quarantine. Some of the game's stars are pleading for special treatment to allow them to prepare for the tournament, but authorities are having none of it.
3 weeks out from a Grand Slam, 72 players are in lockdown, but they'll get no sympathy from the Victorian government.
But they need to understand that this is about keeping the community safe. It's also about keeping them safe and keeping the tournament safe.
A passenger on a 4th plane of players has now tested positive to COVID. It's prompted Novak Djokovic to devise a plan. The world number 1 wants to see players quarantine at private homes with tennis courts.
But the answer is no.
Players are well within their rights to make requests, and we're within our rights to deny them those requests.
For many players, their 2-day hard quarantine period is up. They'll be allowed to train outside for 5 hours, all while those from infected flights are cramped for space.
I actually have a player above me. I think it's a player who's been working out every day. I can hear them. I have no idea if it's a male player or a female. Today they started hitting against the wall.
Tennis commentator Nick McCarville is in quarantine after flying in from LA. He says players are coming to terms with this latest challenge.
Ready, go!
I saw a lot of players got exercise equipment, bikes, workout bands, yoga mats, that sort of stuff from the tournament. So I think that's kind of boosted morale.
As dozens of international players start taking to practice courts at Melbourne Park and Albert Park, our Aussie stars will be training away from the spotlight. The likes of Ash Barty and Sam Stosur have been practicing here at Xavier College, while our men's players are at Kooyong. That excludes Alex de Minaur and Bernard Tomic, who both flew in from overseas. Tomic is in quarantine with his partner, Vanessa Sierra.
It's kind of that 3 weeks before a tournament, no one can train. So, yeah.
Natalie Yannidis for 10 News First.
Well, tonight the Australian government and medical experts have reaffirmed their confidence in the Pfizer vaccine. That's despite the death of 23 aged care residents who were vaccinated in Norway. The federal government says its slow and steady approach to the rollout is working.
It's another line in our defence against COVID-19. 10 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine are on track to be administered to 5 million high-priority Australians within weeks. So when 23 aged care residents in Norway died after receiving the jab, it was a red flag.
Obviously, it's of concern that we've had some deaths reported associated potentially with the vaccine use in Norway.
Health authorities in Norway believe because of their age and frailty, they couldn't handle the side effects of the vaccine, which can include high fever and vomiting.
Our medical experts are in touch with the regulators over there, and obviously the information is being considered by the TGA.
But will it stop the rollout in its tracks? At this stage, no.
We do have confidence in the Pfizer vaccine. We do have confidence in the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Australians are also confident.
I think it's really important that we get as much herd immunity as possible.
I just think it's what everyone needs to do just to try and stop the pandemic from getting any worse.
If we just continue doing the right thing, we should be better than where we are now.
From late next month, our own aged care residents, healthcare workers and those on the front line working in quarantine and border management will be the first to get the vaccine.
We do, as a matter of urgency, need to immunise our population.
Despite heavy criticism of its vaccination rollout, the federal government has maintained for weeks the program won't be rushed.
What it underlines is how important it is to put safety first, not to have any shortcuts.
Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
Well, more cities across the US tonight look like Washington, D.C. under tight security as government buildings are fortified ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration. At least 19 states have called out the National Guard after the FBI warned that Donald Trump diehards could target state capitals. Overnight, small but heavily armed protest groups rallied in Ohio, Oregon, Michigan and Texas. Defence officials admit they are worried about an insider attack. They're vetting all 25,000 National Guard troops in Washington. Our US correspondent Eamon Ashton-Atkinson has the latest.
Locked down and fed up by those seeking to bring back more violence to Washington, D.C.
Stay home. Don't come here. We don't want you here. You're not welcome.
25,000 troops from the National Guard are swarming the Capitol. The building itself is now a makeshift barracks, as new questions are being asked about just how safe Wednesday's inauguration will be.
Who does the National Guard answer to?
They answer through DOD. They can have...
To the President?
That's the chain of command.
If he orders them to stand down, will they stand down?
Well, you're going to have to ask them, but that's unimaginable.
So too were scenes like this. This new footage shows another side to the siege. Insurrectionists searching through the Vice President's binder for top-secret information.
There's got to be something in here. Against these scumbags.
They found nothing.
If you're listening to Trump, you're a boss.
Trump, of course, is now dealing with his second impeachment. Former FBI Director James Comey says Biden should simply ignore the man he's replacing and not prosecute him.
I'd like to see some of the lights go out and he can stand on the front lawn of Mar-a-Lago and shout at cars in his bathrobe, and none of us will hear it.
As soon as Joe Biden moves into the White House here, he has a raft of executive orders planned for his first 10 days in office to immediately begin to reverse some of Donald Trump's most controversial policies. That includes rejoining the Paris Climate Accord, overturning the Muslim travel ban and changing how vaccines are being distributed, enough to give weary Biden voters hope.
100% I feel optimistic. I think things are going to change very rapidly.
Just as soon as the final removal trucks have left. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
Well, back home, Broncos forward Payne Haas has returned to training following his arrest at the weekend. CEO Paul White admits the Blues forward has lessons to learn, but he won't face any club punishment until after his court appearance.
Back on the water this morning, Payne Haas was facing the sobering reality of his actions.
There's plenty of people that go out on a Saturday night who might have too much to drink, who can have an interaction with police, and they don't end up in the circumstances that Payne's ended up in.
The Broncos and Origin forward is charged with offensive language and intimidating police after an alleged altercation with officers in a Tweed Heads park on Saturday night.
He's found himself in the situation which is totally unacceptable.
Normally proactive with player punishments, Broncos CEO Paul White today withheld judgment. Haas cleared to train and play with his teammates until after his day in court.
If anything, in the past, people have been critical that we've overreached in terms of the severity of our sanctions.
The NRL Integrity Unit is also investigating. Haas is no stranger to that organisation, suspended in 2019 for refusing to answer their questions about an incident involving his family.
Any sanctions that may or may not be imposed are the end point. I think there's plenty of work that Payne has to do.
Payne's case isn't an isolated one. The club hasn't been without a pre-season incident in years, and White concedes it's time for the entire team to change their attitude.
There is no excuse or tolerance for those types of behaviours or actions. There's a big lesson for Payne and he needs to own that, but there's also a lesson for the entire playing group as well. You know, we're after actions, not words.
The word of the court will determine his immediate future. Haas will appear at Tweed Heads local court on February 2nd. Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Well, stay with us. Still to come, 5 people charged over a fishy robbery. The silent killer affecting young Australian women. We have the exclusive details. The heartless car theft that's left a Brisbane man with muscular dystrophy cut off. A once over for this old dame of the river to help keep Brisbane's struggling maritime museum afloat. And we chat to the Aussie mum whose story inspired a heartwarming flick about a very special magpie.
I'm a Celebrity's best season ever. Critics and viewers can't get enough.
The brand new series.
No! Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
I've never seen anything like it. 7 years.
Experiences like this teach you what you can actually do.
This is way harder than I imagined.
But the best is still to come when the eliminations continue.
Prepare to face a massive ejection.
Whoa!
I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. On 10.
It continues 7:30 tonight.
Hey mate, have you seen the Sportsbet app now has Sky Racing?
Really?
Yep. Live racing from all around Australia right there on your phone.
Oh, I'm liking this.
Yeah, just one tap and you're streaming from Randwick, Caulfield, Ascot, Dapto Dogs.
Righto, mate, I get it. What are you, the Sportsbet guy now or something?
I actually do a pretty good impression.
This is new. Sky Racing, now available on the Sportsbet app.
Bloody hell, that's pretty good.
I told you.
Create your perfect bedroom at Bedshed and save up to half price on all mattresses and 25% off all furniture. Plus, take a further 10% off this Australia Day long weekend. Bedshed. No one's better in the bedroom.
Back to school is easy at the Athlete's Foot. Book online to be like, we just show up when it suits us, or save time with Virtual Queue to be like, school shoes sorted. There's MyFit 3D in store or MyFit Virtual online. The Athlete's Foot, now that's fit.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? PinoClean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's PinoClean.
Storm and flood cover is automatically included on all Suncorp home insurance policies, so you know you have cover through every storm. That's the Suncorp spirit.
This summer, make new memories at Dreamworld. Enjoy your favourite rides and new ones to look forward to. Experience all this plus so much more with a Locals annual pass for $119. Make new memories at Dreamworld today.
To create our beards, we rely on the best ingredients and tools.
Same goes for our beards. The power of this wall trimmer allows that. Lithium-ion power in a trimmer, that's insane.
When it's in my hand cutting, I know I'm using the best that's out there.
Available only at Shaver Shop.
I have a physical difference. I was born like this. I have had a lot of people say, you can't do this, you can't do that. No matter your difference, don't let it stop you. You are the only person that stands in your way.
The Amazing Race Australia starts Monday, Feb 1.
The all-new Kamik has arrived at Mount Gravatt Skoda. Get into a compact and sporty designed SUV from $27,990 drive away. Test drive at Mount Gravatt Skoda, your home of Skoda in Brisbane.
Well, good afternoon. Some stormy looking conditions to contend with for the drive home this Savi. The Gateway still fairly busy northbound too from Boondall heading up towards the Bruce Highway. Riverside Expressway, Captain Cook Bridge, that's not doing too badly at the moment. That's the run on the Ipswich Motorway, which is actually quite heavy both directions through Oxley and through Darra this afternoon. It's a little bit busy too on the Pacific Motorway leaving the city heading out towards Mount Gravatt, and a busy run here as you head out through the Gabba out to about Greenslopes. After that, it's a fairly good run down towards the Gateway Merge. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Mount Gravatt Skoda. More traffic coming up soon.
Millions of dollars worth of prime salmon have allegedly been stolen from a major Australian fish company, and police suspect it was an inside job. Investigators say the scam saw 5 workers steal hundreds of kilos a day, some of it simply loaded into the boots of their cars.
Hugh Tang and Anthony Liasivi, 2 of 5 workers allegedly involved in a salmon swindling syndicate.
Did you rip off your employer?
Were you stealing this salmon?
They are accused of stealing millions of dollars worth from Hugh, one of our largest commercial fish farmers and sellers.
Whenever you have such a large volume, eventually it will come unstuck, and this was that. It seemed that greed was the order of the day.
Police claim the syndicate deliberately graded premium products as waste before taking them off-site, where they then on-sold for profit or traded them. The group allegedly stole 250 tonnes of salmon over 6 months, averaging 600 kilograms a day.
Other trucks come into the premises to remove pallets, but the actual start of the investigation, 2 employees were caught just loading salmon into the boot of the car.
The suspicions of colleagues prompted an audit which exposed a big drop in output and earnings compared to the year before. The 5 workers have now been charged and fired, including the manager of the Ingleburn factory. Police are still looking into where the fish products ended up and whether those who bought them were aware of their potentially illegal origins. Tang has indicated he'll plead guilty, while Leah Seavey and 3 others will face court next month. Police have warned more suspects could be reeled in.
Well, we're not really close to the water here, so there's not many times that we investigate anything in relation to fish or boats or the like, so this is a first for us.
Michael Hammond for 10 News First.
Well, Virgin Australia has made a bold step towards reviving the fallen airline, revamping its loyalty program and changing its management. Leaders from the aviation sector and public business have been appointed to the board, with only 2 members staying on. For Velocity members, the airline has launched a program to get its loyal members back in the air sooner, giving them a chance to claim a share of 20 million points from today. A true story of a Sydney mum called Sam Bloom, who coped with an unimaginable tragedy thanks to the love of a wild bird, has been made into a major movie starring Naomi Watts. And with just days until Penguin Bloom hits the big screen, Sam and Naomi tell Angela Bishop about the special bond they have formed.
Sam and Cam Bloom and their 3 boys were a typical Northern Beaches family who loved nothing more than to play in the sun and surf, until a tragic accident changed everything.
I had an accident in Thailand in 2013. I leant on a railing and it broke, and I fell 6 metres and broke my back. And I was in the hospital for about 7 months and came home, and I was just, I was not happy at all. You know, that's when the reality kicked in that this is my new life.
3 months later, their son found a baby magpie who'd fallen out of the nest and brought her inside, a decision that transformed their lives.
She just brought this amazing energy into our house. You know, she kind of lifted this dark cloud.
They named the magpie Penguin, and now their story is a movie.
A lot of people fantasise or get asked questions at dinner parties, who would you like to have play you in a film?
Yeah.
And you get one of Australia's, if the world, in fact, finest actresses, Naomi Watts.
I mean, I wouldn't have ever thought in a million years anyone would want to, well, especially someone like Naomi, want to play me, because she's the nicest person. She's so down to earth. She's so lovely. She's just like a normal mum.
Honestly, it's the first time I felt normal since the accident. When I'm kayaking, I look like everyone else.
Sam just could not have been more open, more generous. Not only did she give us her house to shoot in, but she shared her diaries with me, her journals, her most private thoughts.
A mischief of magpies played the title role, which meant Naomi had to overcome a lifelong fear of the bird.
I got swooped when I was horse riding in the forest as a teenager, and we must have gone through an area where they were nesting or something.
But the finished product is worth it.
It's extraordinary, and we're so proud of what they've done. Like, they told our story so well and they've kept it real.
We wanted it to be our story and not Hollywooded at all.
Penguin Bloom opens in cinemas on Thursday. Angela Bishop for 10 News First.
Looks great. Coming up next, working with the Beatles to dying behind bars, the chilling story of the music producer to the Stars, Phil Spector. The poisoned Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny detained upon returning to Moscow. And an amazing story of triumph against the odds. A paraplegic climber takes on a skyscraper. First, let's get a quick look at today's weather. Here is Josh with the latest.
Good evening, Hugh. As mentioned earlier in the bulletin, Tropical Cyclone Kimi has now intensified, now a Category 2 tropical cyclone. You can see the amount of cloud associated with the system. We'll touch on that in just a moment. The other feature we've had across southeast Queensland this afternoon, severe thunderstorms firing up and a severe thunderstorm warning issued for damaging winds, large hail and also the potential for heavy rainfall. In fact, across the southeast inland, we have seen rain rates of around about 50 millimetres falling in just 1 hour alone, and areas like Killarney picking up over 60 millimetres into the rain gauge. These cells are drifting in an easterly fashion. Across to the north, here is Tropical Cyclone Kimi. You can see it here rotating in that clockwise formation, and you can also make out the well-defined eye there. It's just lingering off the coast, and it is forecast to stall off the Queensland coast during tonight. We'll have more on that a little bit later. Temperatures across Brisbane today, 30 degrees. The maximum this afternoon, we hit the same mark at the sunny coast, 28 at the Goldie, 30 at Logan and 31 at Ipswich. But of course, all the weather details and the latest from Tropical Cyclone Kimmy coming up at 5 to 6.
I have a physical difference. I was born like this. I have had a lot of people say, you can't do this, you can't do that. I will always achieve everything I set my mind to. No matter your difference, don't let it stop you. You are the only person that stands in your way.
The Amazing Race Australia starts Monday, Feb 1.
Love the amazing benefits of apple cider vinegar but don't like the taste? Ugh. Try Nature's Way apple cider vinegar gummies. With all the goodness in a yummy gummy. Nature's Way apple cider vinegar gummies.
Hey, Nina, there's more where that came from. I'm filled with hair, soap and dirt you can't reach.
New Easy Off Drain Turbo Gel's powerful formula quickly powers through tough clogs and eliminates odours. New Easy Off Drain Turbo Gel.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
As a first-time investor, Terry Shear provides the security I need.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
Funny, when it comes to killing pests without chemicals, Aussies tend to resort to rather unnatural methods.
Stop!
With a plant-based active, new Aerogard Home is suitable for everyone, except bugs. The more natural way to go.
Because house frames made with true core steel have a high strength to weight ratio and stay straight and true, they're an ideal choice for modern home design. To find builders using true core steel, visit truecore.com.au.
Can I have a word? If this is about the promotion, I have every expectation you'll get it. But there is a problem. You do not go after Dominic Morgan with a knife or a gun. You go with an army. I'm not the enemy.
Que's Baby cucumbers are crunchy, quirky, and deliciously crisp. Nothing's quite as quick, nothing's quite as cute, nothing's quite as cool as Que's. Promoting healthy snacks for little footballers as proud sponsor of Mini Roos.
We need a new fridge.
Really? Yeah, we do. Where are we going to get the money?
Wallet Wizard! Fast and easy cash loans. walletwizard.com.au. Cool.
What happens to all the dirt on your dishes? It flows in your dishwasher, affecting its cleaning performance. Add Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner, the only one that cleans your dishwasher while it cleans your dishes. Try Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner today.
Your dad wants me to download a playlist. Oh, no. Nah, it'll take ages.
Not on 5G.
So many things that I can't touch on time. I'm all out of faith.
You and me, Darren.
This is how I feel.
Your iPhone 12 Pro deserves Australia's best 5G.
The couch critics are entering the jungle.
Oh, my worst nightmare.
They were a bit flat.
I'm a Celebrity tonight.
Russia's most prominent opposition figure, Alexei Navalny, is tonight behind bars after returning to Moscow for the first time since his near-fatal poisoning. The popular critic of President Vladimir Putin was arrested shortly after touching down, sparking condemnation across Europe and in the US. Here's Europe correspondent Phoebe Bowden.
As Alexei Navalny returned to the country he claims tried to kill him, Russian police dragged his supporters from the airport. Vladimir Putin says the opposition leader is little known and no threat to him. But perhaps actions speak louder than words.
Thank you very much.
Navalny returned to Moscow from Berlin after being poisoned with a nerve agent last year. Western officials say it was an assassination attempt by the Russian state.
Mr. Navalny from Israeli television, aren't you afraid?
The 44-year-old was swiftly arrested on return. After kissing wife Yulia goodbye, he was led away and denied a lawyer. He's accused of breaking parole and embezzlement, which is dismissed as politically motivated. Just before his arrest, he said, "I'm not afraid. I'll come out on the other side and head home because I know I'm right." With elections in September this year, the Kremlin critic and anti-corruption activist was determined to come home. He has millions of social media followers and helped candidates win recent local elections. They are afraid of him. This is the only reason, in my view, this supporter explains. Navalny's dream is to challenge Putin at the ballot box, but first he needs to get out of jail and stay alive. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
Well, it's impossible not to acknowledge Phil Spector's role in the making of some of the most influential music in history, producing the likes of the Beatles and Tina Turner. Instead, he'll be remembered as a cold-blooded killer who shot and killed a young actress. He was still serving his prison sentence when he died in California yesterday.
Either a piano underneath, it should be just a piano song,
He spent decades working alongside some of the greatest names in music, producing John Lennon's Imagine album and the Beatles' Let It Be, using his trademark wall of sound technique. Spector was behind the Righteous Brothers, Ike and Tina Turner's River Deep and Mountain High, and the Ronettes, where he met his second wife, Ronnie. She was perhaps the first to reveal the monster behind the music, the years of physical and psychological abuse she suffered at his hands. After his death, she wrote on Instagram, "Unfortunately, Phil was not able to live and function outside of the recording studio. Darkness set in, many lives were damaged." But Phil Spector didn't just damage lives, he took one. On February 3, 2003, Lana Clarkson was found dead inside Spector's Californian mansion. She'd been shot in the mouth in what Spector argued was an accidental suicide after she'd, in his words, kissed the gun. His first trial was hung, but in his second, 5 other women testified Spector had pointed guns at them during drunken meetings. That testimony saw him convicted of second-degree murder.
For a total of 19 years to life.
Life it ultimately was. Spector died under guard in hospital 4 weeks after a positive COVID-19 diagnosis. He was 81. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
2 of Afghanistan's female Supreme Court judges have been murdered in the capital, Kabul. The women were shot dead as they were travelling in a car. The Afghan president has blamed the Taliban, but the group itself is denying involvement. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for multiple attacks on Kabul in recent months that have left dozens of people dead. There have been wild scenes in Guatemala as soldiers tried to block thousands of Honduran migrants trying to get to the US. The troops used batons and tear gas eventually to hold back the migrants. Several large Central American caravans have been making their way towards the US in the hope the incoming Biden administration will let them in. A paraplegic climber has made an ambitious ascent, scaling a skyscraper in Hong Kong using a pulley system of ropes. Strapped to his wheelchair, Lai Chi-wai hitched his way up the 80-storey tower. After more than 10 hours, he made it past the 250-metre mark, just 50 metres from the top, before blistered hands and exhaustion forced him to stop. He raised almost $1 million to help patients with spinal cord injuries. Well, still to come, the Aussies turn the screw as the overs tick away for them to win the final test against India. And the Australian first research into the silent heart attack risk for women. We have the exclusive details.
The couch critics are entering the jungle.
Oh, my worst nightmare.
And they're not going to get the warmest of welcomes.
I think that maybe you guys have been planted in here.
They were a bit flat. They were a bit...
I'm a Celebrity, 7:30 tonight.
At Pacific Harbour, Bribie Island, the beach is part of your life. Secure your large home site from under $290,000. Just 50 minutes from Brisbane Airport by bridge. Visit bribiebeach.com.au.
Absolutely everything is on sale at Freedom, with up to 25% off sofas, up to 30% off furniture and homewares, and up to 50% off mattresses. It's happening right now. Only at Freedom.
At Apia, we're all about possibilities. So if you're driving less, we offer comprehensive motor insurance with a drive less, pay less discount. Apia, get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
Funny, when it comes to killing pests without chemicals, Aussies tend to resort to rather unnatural methods.
Stop!
With a plant-based active, new Aerogard Home is suitable for everyone, except bugs, the more natural way to go.
It's time to get started. Get hands-on. Put theory into practice. It's time to learn from the experts, help improve people's lives, and get to where you want to be.
I went from studying patient care to supporting new mums.
Study full-time, part-time or online. Apply now and see where TAFE can take you.
With Belong, you get unlimited data on NBN broadband for $65 a month for 12 months. That's unlimited streaming of the latest hits, or misses. Plus, no upfront fees for standard activation. We all use our broadband differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
You, mate? Nice truck.
The new Ford Ranger FX4 Max.
The world's most exotic fragrances are made by nature. That's why we've created Botanica fragrances, infused with natural ingredients that are responsibly sourced. Botanica by Airwick.
When you need money for the unexpected, time can seem against you. Nimble makes finance faster. Get a Nimble small cash loan up to $5,000 within 60 minutes once confirmed. Visit nimble.com.au.
At Drake Supermarkets, we've got ingredients for the play days and the May days, the dirty days and the hurty days. Drake Supermarkets.
Ingredients for every day.
Winner. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Winner, chicken. I'm a hot boy like the summertime, wish cold like winter.
Try Domino's new Oven Awesome Chicken with new Chicken Supreme from just $7.95. Bring it in.
Hello again. Well, as we start to wrap up the run home tonight, as you can see, some fairly dark clouds around the place and some severe storms making their way in from the west. So we'll make this as quick as we can and get back on the ground. Not doing too badly on the gateway now. A little bit slow still heading up through Boondall towards the Bruce Highway, Riverside Expressway and Captain Cook Bridge. As you can see here, not doing too badly getting round on towards Coronation Drive. Fairly good run outbound on the Western Freeway, not doing too badly now. And the run on the Pacific Motorway slow out to about Greenslope still. Not too bad on the Ipswich Motorway. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Mount Gravatt Skoda. Have a great night tonight. And I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Hello there, I'm Gillian Bowen with your finance news. There's been a jump in skilled workers arriving in Australia. According to the Bureau of Statistics, 2,700 people arrived on permanent skilled visas in December. That's up more than 50% on November. But in December 2019, before COVID, more than 34,000 people arrived on permanent skilled visas. You can see why businesses are crying out for workers. The figures also show an increasing number of of Australians are returning home. They made up 17,800 of the estimated arrivals in December. That's the largest number since travel restrictions began. And obviously the number of Australians leaving the country remains incredibly low, but that has the bosses of two major retailers cheering because much of that consumer spending is being redirected into retail. JB Hi-Fi told investors today its first half sales growth is up almost 24% to a touch under $5 billion, while Super Retail, which owns Rebel Sport, Super Cheap Auto and BCF, is on track for its profit to triple. Both companies have benefited from Black Friday, Cyber Monday and the Christmas shopping period. But the ASX 200 was weaker today. The miners and banks were the main drags. This is how the dollar is performing against the other major currencies. It's a little softer today, and that's finance.
Tonight's top stories: an unpredictable cyclone Kimmy keeps North Queensland on high alert. The system is a Category 2 with the warning area stretching from Ayr to Innisfail. Greater Brisbane gets ready to unmask, the region on track to have COVID restrictions eased by early Friday morning. And another blow to the Australian Open with more positive coronavirus results. More than 70 tennis players are now in hard lockdown, with some pleading for special treatment. Heartless thieves have stolen a customised car from a family with a young man with muscular dystrophy. The vehicle isn't just transport for them, it means access to the world, making it irreplaceable in more ways than one.
They knew what they were after and wasted no time getting it. After casing an Indooroopilly street, the thieves were in and out in just minutes.
There was a noise, a screech, that we thought that was unusual. We saw it go, we saw it disappear.
At the time, they probably had no idea that it was a wheelchair-accessible vehicle, and how important that is for me, but hopefully they can just leave it somewhere.
The 2007 Tarago is more than just a set of wheels. It's a lifeline for Blair Garton, who has muscular dystrophy. The passionate car enthusiast needs it to get to appointments, to wheelchair sports and to see friends.
It's had a massive impact on my life and has made it so easy to get around.
It is insured, but the wheelchair conversion it's kitted out with isn't.
Right, the modifications are worth $30,000. It's irreplaceable at the moment because they don't make Taragos anymore.
It's meant their plans have been put on hold until police are able to track down the car and those responsible for taking it. COVID-19 has also impacted what other options Blair has to get from A to B.
So it's not ideal for him to go on public transport. He can wear a mask, but in this environment I think it's much better that he either stay at home or get a taxi.
The family pleading with the thief or thieves.
Blair would be very happy to get it back in the way that they found it and no questions asked.
Pippa Sheehan for 10 News First.
Let's hope he gets it back. Now, if you're approaching 100 years old, health checks take on extra importance, and it's no different for a rare piece of Brisbane's maritime history. The city's last steam-driven tugboat, Forceful, is heading to dry dock, with a lot riding on what they find.
Her coal-fired boiler hasn't fired up for 15 years, ever since steam tug Forceful was deemed a seagoing safety risk.
It would be lovely to have her floating in a far better condition than she is now at the 100th birthday.
Forceful steam from Glasgow to Australia in 1925 saw service in New Guinea during World War II, then assisted commercial shipping on Brisbane River for nearly half a century as the city boomed. Madeline Blythe's father was the city's tugmaster for many of those years.
I've got photos of me on Forceful, so it's a long time.
Madeline's part of a small group of passionate volunteers helping preserve Forceful as a tourist drawcard for Brisbane's struggling maritime museum. They're worried about the old tug's appointment in dry dock.
We don't know what we'll find in this case because it's been some 7 or 8 years since it was out of the water.
Forceful's structural health check coincides with the reopening of the Maritime Museum this weekend. It's a trial, in effect, to gauge the public's interest in the place, which is struggling to stay afloat financially. The reopening and cash injection critical for the museum's future.
Financially is at stake. There's a high risk at the moment.
And to help pay any repair bill for this grand lady.
To have her as a floating exhibit, you probably get away with $1 million.
People should be ashamed. We're very good at destroying history.
You can catch a glimpse of Forceful Undertow from 6 this Thursday morning. Tim Collins for 10 News First.
Well, Matt Burke is here with the day in sport. Matt, Australia has set the target. Now it's up to the bowlers.
It is indeed, Hugh. Good evening. The Aussies will have to battle hard for 10 wickets and also battle the weather. The details next. Plus, the Broncos reserve judgment after Payne Haas was arrested on the weekend. And how to nearly blow $20 million in one go sailing in the America's Cup.
The all-new Kamik has arrived at Mount Gravatt Skoda. Get into a compact and sporty designed SUV from $27,990 drive away. Test drive at Mount Gravatt Skoda, your home of Skoda in Brisbane.
The young Aussie activist being recognised around the world. That's next.
The power couple think they can ace this race.
They're pretty easy. It's actually a lot easier. Easy. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Holly is more resilient than me.
Any woman is more resilient than you, bro.
The Amazing Race Australia starts Monday, Feb 1.
Let life challenge you, not your skin. Olay Power Duo, for plumper and more radiant skin from day one. Fearless, face more.
The Karcher Steam Cleaner kills 99.99% of bacteria, using nothing but tap water and the deep cleaning power of steam. The Karcher Steam Cleaner. Check out our 5-star customer reviews online.
Thank you. And that one?
This time of year can really add up.
Oh, I'll help you.
So we're helping to lighten the load. You're right. Just a little. With $100 off any new NRMA comprehensive car insurance policy.
Hang on, I'll give you a hand.
Thanks.
Watch out.
The Fantastic Summer event is on now, and there's something for the whole family. Save on kids' furniture, beds, mattresses, sofas, and heaps more. Find your Fantastic. Shop in store or online today. Don't miss the Fantastic Summer event.
This is me, 10 Cent Tom. I love collecting recyclables. It's a great way to save a few extra dollars and help save the planet. My name is Tom Peary and I'm a change maker.
2020. It made us stay true to what we're really for. We're for not letting anything stop them getting the early learning they deserve. We're Good Start. We're not for profit, so we can do more for children.
If you're worried about your actions or relationship, contact Men's Line for free confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
This seems easy enough.
Getting a loan can be complicated. Nimble makes finance faster. Get a Nimble personal loan up to $25,000 from 8.99%. Comparison rate from 10.31% per annum. Visit nimble.com.au.
Peace of mind. It's hard to find these days, but it's in this meal, brought with a sense of security. It's in this chat. It's knowing that Glen 20 is partnering with Meals on Wheels, helping to provide protection and well-being to those who are most vulnerable, enabling them to kill 99.9% of germs and viruses, including COVID-19. That's peace of mind you can hold on to.
Boys!
Watch Sky Racing live, anywhere, now available on Sportsbet.
The couch critics are entering the jungle.
Oh, my worst nightmare!
They were a bit flat.
I'm a Celebrity tonight.
Well, good evening. The stage is set for an exciting finals day's play with the Border Gavaskar Trophy on the line in the fourth test at the Gabba. India's inexperienced attack gave Australia's batsmen some headaches on day 4, but the Aussies recovered to set the tourists 328 for victory.
With rain forecast in Brisbane, David Warner and Marcus Harris got straight down to business.
That's
Vintage Warner.
They were settling in, eyeing half-centuries when India turned up the heat. Harris ducking and weaving, but gloved one to punt.
Beautifully bowled, Shardul Thakur.
On 48, a hesitant Warner made a last-gasp LB review, but was almost back in the stands by the time DRS confirmed what he seemed to already know.
Impact in line, hitting the wickets.
When Marnus Labuschagne and Matthew Wade came and went within minutes, Australia had lost 4 for 34.
And India fight back again.
It was tough going in the middle as Cameron Green and Steve Smith steadied the innings. Smith's 31st Test half-century, an important one.
50 for Stephen Smith off just 67 balls.
He added just 5 more runs, which brought the captain to the crease, and he was in a hurry.
Finds the rope.
Shardul took care of both Green and Payne. Australia 7 down when the skies opened. After putting their feet up for an hour, Australia's tail came out swinging, taking the lead past 300.
High on the bat from Cummins.
Siraj finishing them off, dedicating his fifer to his late father, who passed away while he was on tour. Ros Kelly for 10 News First.
The Melbourne Stars expect Andre Fletcher will be right to play in Wednesday night's Melbourne Derby rematch. Last night, the opener subbed Spice for ice after bruising his wrist. There were no major concerns for Liam Harcher after he collided with Sam Harper. The quick even copping a sledge from his skipper as he dusted himself off.
You're right. Mate, he's half the size of you. How are you getting beaten up by him?
Set 151 for victory, the Stars chased down the Renegades total in the final over to move into third on the ladder. Payne Haas is set to be punished by the Broncos after he was charged with using offensive language and allegedly intimidating police. But he won't be sanctioned until he faces court, with the club willing to let the law deal with his immediate fate.
Back training, Payne Haas goes about business as usual, despite only 2 nights ago being arrested for alleged police intimidation.
We don't accept that type of behaviour.
The club does accept the process of the law. CEO Paul White declaring Haas won't be sanctioned by the Broncos until he fronts court on February 2 and after the NRL Integrity Unit conduct their own investigation.
We're after actions, not words. The player, he was alone. And he acted alone in this instance, and he just made a really poor decision.
It's not the first time the Blues prop has found himself in trouble. In 2019, Haas was fined and suspended for 4 games after failing to cooperate with the NRL in a domestic matter.
If anything, in the past, people have been critical that we've overreached in terms of the severity of our sanctions.
Haas will feel the pain of punishment eventually. Once proceedings conclude, the club are dishing out consequences. For now, it's about support and ensuring it's not a short-term fix.
We're not just jumping straight to what a sanction might look like. We're looking at what are the opportunities for learning right here and now.
Jack de Bellin's opportunities are dwindling. His retrial for an alleged serious sexual assault is set for April. He's also returned to training with the Dragons reserve grade after undergoing surgery for testicular cancer.
But it is good to see him back in around the training group, and he said his first day was a bit of a touch-up, so a bit of a hard one. But yeah, it's good to see him with a smile back on his face.
Trent Simpson for 10 News First.
In a game billed as a title race marker, Liverpool and Manchester United couldn't be split. The Reds have slipped to 4th on the table with major questions about their goal-scoring ability. No one could argue against brilliant keeping, however, with Alisson ensuring a 0-0 draw.
Pogba, big chance, big save. Critical save by Alisson.
While Manchester City moved into 2nd on the table with a 4-0 drubbing over Crystal Palace. A 5-hour America's Cup salvage mission finally came to an end in the New Zealand darkness last night. Now the repairs begin as Team American Magic try to get back on the water after this incredible capsize.
American Magic!
I don't know much about what happened. I've seen a video of the manoeuvre and it's just horrific, you know, and you don't want to see that for anyone.
Fortunately, all of the 11 crew are okay and hope to be back competing come Friday. And Hugh, Team America, well, they're struggling in the round-robin format, so fingers crossed they get going again.
You can see why they're struggling. Matt, thank you.
Coming up next, the latest on Cyclone Kimi and storms across the southeast. Josh will be back with all your weather details.
Evicted I'm a Celebrity contestant Jack Vidgens spills the bush tea. Next.
The couch critics are entering the jungle.
Oh, my worst nightmare.
And they're not going to get the warmest of welcomes.
I think that maybe you guys have been planted in here.
They were a bit flat. They were a bit...
I'm a Celebrity, 7:30 tonight.
In a time of need, it's nice to be able to concentrate on the things that matter most. At KM Smith, for you, we think of everything.
Storm and flood cover is automatically included on all Suncorp home insurance policies, so you know you have cover through every storm. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Flavour you can smash, flavour you can thrash, flavour just for me, flavour you can see. Shapes.
New Shapes Triple Cheese Toasty.
Breeze through summer with Australia's biggest fan and exterior sale at Beacon. Shop our huge range of fans plus exciting new designs with 30% off your second fan or exterior item. Sale ends next Sunday.
With Belong, you get unlimited data on NBN broadband for $65 a month for 12 months. That's unlimited streaming of the latest hits, or misses. Plus, no upfront fees for standard activation. We all use our broadband differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
Sometimes the long way is the best way.
Buy a new Subaru and get an Accor Hotels travel pack worth up to $1,200 of value. So when it's safe to do so, you can love the long way.
Pre-rinsing wastes up to 40 litres of water. Let's end this. With Finish, if you promise to stop pre-rinsing, we'll donate 40 litres of water to those who need it most. Join the movement. Finish.
Is your home running out of space? Time to call Storage King. Visit storageking.com.au and let Storage King give you back some space. Store before the 15th of Feb and get 1 month's storage free.
Some popular cereals contain over 25% sugar. That's more than a quarter of the cereal. Luckily, Weet-Bix is low in sugar, it's full of whole grain goodness and extra yum with a twist. Just add fruit, nuts and seeds. For a better brekkie, it's got to be Weet-Bix.
Early Settlers Big Sale just got bigger. Up to 30% off our comfy sofas. Up to 40% off bedroom. Buy the chairs and get the table half price. Buy one table lamp and get one free. Outdoor furniture up to 30% off. Early Settlers Big Sale is now on.
Window fully pinated? Some insurers don't have an option to fix it excess-free. But luckily, Amy does.
You're with Amy. The Amazing Race Australia kicks off Monday, Feb 1.
Alrighty, this is as good as it's gonna get, guys. Come on, Jess, let's make a out of ourselves.
I've never felt so amazing in my life, ever.
These besties don't take themselves too seriously.
People might judge us by what we look like, which not much. Yeah.
But in the Amazing Race, they might just have the last laugh.
Come on, Jess, run.
That was a great feeling for us.
The race starts Monday, Feb 1.
Good evening. Well, all eyes on North Queensland at the moment. So let's not hesitate. Let's dive straight into the latest statistics where we do have Tropical Cyclone Kimi, who is now located 165 kilometres north of Townsville, and she is tracking in a south-southeasterly direction at 14 kilometres per hour. Now, on the Queensland radar, you can see here the rotation of the system and even the well-defined eye during the last 12 hours or so as it's made that southerly track down the Queensland coast, sending in huge amounts of rainfall.
some of which have exceeded the 180mm mark around parts of Innisfail at Saltwater Creek. Innisfail Wharf picking up 158mm, and even Bulgan Creek near Tully 112mm. But we know this catchment through Queensland is already saturated at the moment, so any further heavy rainfall, we're going to see some sharp river rises and even the potential for flash flooding in some areas. So what happens next? Well, as mentioned, Kimmy has intensified into a Category 2 system today, with winds gusting near the centre at 140 kilometres per hour. Now, the latest computer forecasting models have Kimmy stalling off the Queensland coast overnight and into tomorrow, possibly doing a U-turn and then heading northwards back up the coast while weakening. Now, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. This system has already been erratic, so that could change dramatically over the next 12 to 24 hours. So we'll have to keep you up to date on that. But a cyclone warning remains in place from Innisfail all the way through to Ayr, and the watch area extends as far south as Bowen at the moment. You can see here in the predicted wind chart the clockwise rotation of this system as these systems spin in the southern hemisphere, sending in some very heavy rainfall across this area of Queensland. It is set to continue tomorrow, and we could see upwards of 200 to 300mm widespread across this region of North Queensland, indicated by the purple shading. So no doubt we will see some flooding in some areas, and everyone through this region of Queensland should keep themselves up to date with the latest warnings as they come to hand by the Bureau of Meteorology. But we've also seen plenty of weather across southeast Queensland this afternoon. In fact, severe thunderstorms have moved in from the west, and as a result, severe thunderstorm warnings are in place tonight for damaging wind and heavy rainfall. We've seen some locations exceed 100mm already, and rain rates of 70mm falling in just 60-minute periods. So some very heavy rain associated with these slow-moving cells as they move across the southeast. So there is the potential for flash flooding tonight. Tomorrow, all eyes will be on Kimmy, obviously through North Queensland, as she potentially stalls off the coast and then heads back in that northerly direction. A trough low pressure maintains its position through inland parts of Queensland. So showers will persist through southeast Queensland tomorrow, favouring the morning. I think it'll start to dry out a little bit through the afternoon, and hopefully we can get play underway again at the Gabba with the final test match between Australia and India playing out for day 5. Plenty of heavy rain through northern areas of Queensland. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work that out. We're going to see the potential for showers and thunderstorms through the southeast, and further south for Sydney tomorrow, showers as well with a top of 24, partly cloudy for Melbourne and 19, overcast skies for Hobart and Adelaide hitting 29 tomorrow with a dry day on the way. Showers, thunderstorms, rain areas through North Queensland, extending through the inland parts of the state as well, and right through to the southeast and the Wide Bay. A wet morning on the way for the southeast, Ipswich hitting 31, Logan 30 and Caboolture a top of 29. Out on the bay, northerly winds tomorrow 10 to 15 knots and the seas below 1 metre. 30 degrees the top for Brisbane tomorrow, showers and a possible thunderstorm as mentioned, starting to dry out later in the day. Partly cloudy Wednesday, Thursday, and at this stage a mostly sunny Friday with a top of 29. But more info on Tropical Cyclone Kimmy coming up shortly.
Well, more on tonight's top stories. As you've just heard, Tropical Cyclone Kimmy is bringing strong gusty winds and rain, but the Category 2 system is keeping authorities guessing. Greater Brisbane on track to unmask on Friday with no new community transmission cases. And the silent killer of young women underdiagnosed and under-researched, the study aiming to save Australian women from heart attacks. Well, Tropical Cyclone Kimmy is keeping everyone on their toes as the erratic storm system menaces the North Queensland coast. Its path is hard to predict, with Kimmy changing course throughout the day.
A slow dance with a dangerous customer.
Cyclone Kimmy, we have been waiting and waiting.
As Innisfail braces for more strife from above.
Our biggest problem is that all the area around here, all the farm, it's saturated. And this rain on top of that can create an issue for us.
Tropical Cyclone Kimmy is proving an unpredictable beast, having changed its track a number of times already. The warning area is massive, stretching from Ayr down to Innisfail, where the Category 2 system is currently lurking off the coast. Shops are shut and sandbagging is in full swing. Preparations which are underway across the north.
So anyone in that watch zone, you need to be prepared for destructive winds up to 150 kilometres an hour.
Kimmy had been forecast to make landfall around Cardwell, only to shift its path once again. It's now expected to meander in the ocean for the next few days.
Weakening as it moves south and then looping back and continuing to weaken as it then moves north up the coast as a low pressure system.
But the Premier warns there's no room for complacency, with a coastal crossing still a possibility.
She could cross the coast somewhere between Innisfail and Bowen.
Fitzroy Island off Cairns was evacuated as a precaution, while regional harbour masters have issued cyclone alerts for vessel operators at several ports, closing them to anything but emergency services.
But it's important for the community to stay connected and listen to the messaging all day.
Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
Well, let's go live to Chris Campy now, who is in Townsville for us tonight. Chris, it looks like another nervous 24 hours for people in the north.
Hugh, Kimmy certainly keeping the residents of North Queensland guessing tonight. As you heard Josh articulate, she is proving very unpredictable. To the southern side of that now weakening eye, there is a large band of rain, but it has stayed mostly offshore today. But a short time ago, we did see Magnetic Island simply disappear as some of that rain did come ashore, but so far most of the impacts of this system are yet to cause too much concern on the mainland. The people of Palm Island tonight, an emergency alert has been issued there for preparations, and as you heard the Premier say, there is a caution zone as far north as Innisfail and as far south as Bowen, and there is still some chance that this system could make a landfall arrival through the night. So plenty of areas are on watch tonight. The biggest fear will, of course, be that heavy rainfall with an area so sodden in recent weeks.
OK, Chris Campy, good luck there. Keep the coat handy. Talk to you soon. Queensland has recorded another day with no new cases linked to the Hotel Grand Chancellor, but as Claire Barnes reports, we're not yet out of the woods.
Brisbane is another step closer to returning to normal life, with restrictions on track to ease this Friday. The state recorded just one new case overnight, which was acquired overseas, a woman returning from Brazil who is now in hotel quarantine. It means there's been no further spread of the UK strain of the virus linked to the Hotel Grand Chancellor, so that outbreak remains at 6. More than 860 tests have now been carried out of close contacts related to the cluster.
And it's been a great result from what Greater Brisbane has done, and it just goes to show if we all act together quickly and making those tough decisions and cooperating, we can get good results.
But while it's looking good at this stage, the Chief Health Officer is warning residents to remain vigilant. Brisbane's clear run will need to continue for the next couple of days until restrictions on venues and gatherings are lifted. We're also being urged to continue wearing masks.
That if you're in a crowded space, if you can't maintain social distancing, that you really wear a mask, particularly on public transport and if you're going into any shopping centres. I think that will help us all as we go forward.
Police have also praised residents for their compliance, with no fines handed out in the past 24 hours.
OK, Claire, thank you. Now, Bernard Tomic has arrived in Melbourne for Australian Open qualifying, flying straight in from Doha to hotel quarantine. His partner Vanessa Sierra has voiced her frustration at the conditions, which is not getting much sympathy from the Victorian Premier.
Tomic is in quarantine with his partner Vanessa Sierra.
All right, we've got an update. Training's been cancelled. Second training in a row that's been cancelled.
For many players, their 2-day hard quarantine period is up. They'll be allowed to train outside for 5 hours, all while those from infected flights are cramped for space.
I actually have a player above me. I think it's a player who's been working out every day. I can hear them.
Tennis commentator Nick McCarville is in quarantine after flying in from LA. He says players are coming to terms with this latest challenge.
Ready, go! I saw a lot of players got exercise equipment, bikes, workout bands, yoga mats, that sort of stuff from the tournament. So I think that's kind of boosted morale.
As dozens of international players start taking to practice courts at Melbourne Park and Albert Park, our Aussie stars will be training away from the spotlight. The likes of Ash Barty and Sam Stosur have been practicing here at Xavier College, while our men's players are at Kooyong. A passenger on a fourth plane of players has now tested positive to COVID.
But they need to understand that this is about keeping the community safe. It's also about keeping them safe and keeping the tournament safe.
Natalie Yannidis for 10 News First.
US defence officials have admitted they are worried about insider attacks during President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration speech later this week. The FBI has begun vetting 25,000 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. At least 19 US states have also activated their National Guard, with warnings their capital cities will also be targeted by Donald Trump's diehard supporters.
So every guardsman takes an oath, and it's to defend the Constitution from enemies foreign and domestic. And as we've seen, sometimes the enemies are a little closer to home.
Joe Biden has revealed he will issue decrees to reverse President Trump's Muslim travel bans and rejoin the Paris Climate Accord as soon as he is inaugurated. A rare but dangerous condition that causes tears in the heart's blood vessels is going under the microscope with new funding for research. It predominantly affects young, healthy women with no history of heart disease. Researchers hope they will find out why.
5 years ago, Jen O'Neill was managing the ups and downs of her second baby when she felt a sharp pain in her chest.
A pain went down my arm. Felt very nauseous, felt like I was going to vomit.
But a heart attack was the last thing on her mind.
It blindsided me. I was absolutely shocked.
At 36, with no family history of heart or health problems, Jen suffered a spontaneous coronary artery dissection, or SCAD, when a blood vessel in the heart suddenly tears, slowing or blocking blood flow and causing an attack.
That it predominantly affects young or middle-aged women, and it can come out of the blue in otherwise healthy people.
At 40%, it's the leading cause of heart attacks in women under 50, but just why it develops is largely unknown. With help from the CSANZ Bayer Young Investigator grant, new research will soon begin to create Australia's biggest registry of at least 800 patients to find answers.
We're going to look at the better way to diagnose SCAD, improving treatment and trying to prevent recurrences in patients who have had SCAD previously.
The research will also look into how the health system responds when younger women present with these symptoms, with many experiencing delays or misdiagnosis because they're not a typical heart attack patient.
Lack of awareness is part of the reason why women don't call 000. Even when they get to hospital, clinicians perhaps are not thinking first and foremost that those women are having a heart attack.
More knowledge giving hope to more families. Sydney Pede for 10 News First.
Well, coming up next, the fishy scam that led to the arrest of 5 people. Vic the puppy safe and reunited with his owners after a car smashed into their house. Keep the tournament going.
Tennis stars training in tiny hotel rooms. Will the Oz Open be a fair competition? Plus the complicated legacy of the man who changed pop music.
Glasses should be a thing of joy. A mood-enhancing, eye-catching fashion piece that you can change up to suit your outlook or your outfit. At Bailey Nelson, we design all our own frames to keep quality high and prices low. So you can turn a prescription into a celebration and let your glasses express who you really are. All for joy. Bailey Nelson.
Let me tell you about Fairy, from the world's #1 dish care company. For stuck-on grease, just spray Fairy Easy Spray and grease melts away. For hand washing, Fairy dishwashing liquid lifts off tough grease before your eyes. And for your dishwasher, Fairy Platinum Plus beats Finish Quantum at cleaning stuck-on food on the first wash. Try it like I did. Switch to Fairy, from the world's #1 dish care company.
All aboard to the Workshop's Realm Museum these holidays for a day out with Thomas. There's loads of hands-on activities and exhibits to explore. Plus, you can meet Thomas the Tank Engine and the Fat Controller in person. So make your day a day out with Thomas.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
Introducing new MyWW Plus.
It takes what's in your fridge and gives you healthy recipes to make for your family. It's just been so easy to use.
The MyWW Plus app takes the guesswork out of deciding what foods I should be eating.
You can really see the progress that you've made and it just motivates you to go further.
It makes working out the best part of my day.
More holistic, more personalised, more weight loss. New MyWW Plus from Weight Watchers Reimagined. Join now and get 70% off your first 3 months.
With AHM Flexi Limit, you can use your included extras how you want, like more general dental or chiro, because you should be able to choose more of what you want. Join direct at ahm.com.au today. AHM, the simple bit.
Some popular cereals contain over 25% sugar. That's more than a quarter of the cereal. Luckily, Weet-Bix is low in sugar, it's full of whole grain goodness and extra yum with a twist. Just add fruit, nuts and seeds. For a better brekkie, it's got to be Weet-Bix.
Here in the market for a new Hilux. Well, SR5 now comes with even more power.
Sounds good.
Make any excuse this play clearance. Get the new Hilux 4x4 SR5 with free on-roads. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Winner. Yeah, that's me. Winner, chicken. I'm a hot boy like the summertime, wish cold like winter.
Try Domino's new Oven Awesome Chicken with new Chicken Supreme from just $7.95. Bring it in.
The couch critics are entering the jungle.
Oh, my worst nightmare.
And they're not going to get the warmest of welcomes.
I think that maybe you guys have been planted in here.
They were a bit flat.
I'm a Celebrity, 7:30 tonight.
2 men have appeared in court accused of being part of a multi-million-dollar fish stealing scam. The group allegedly stole 250 tonnes of salmon over 6 months. Hui Tang and Anthony Leosivi are 2 of 5 workers charged with stealing tonnes of fish from their employer, Hugh Aquaculture. Police claim the syndicate deliberately graded premium products as waste before taking them off-site to sell at a profit. A puppy has been reunited with his owners after a frightening 9-hour ordeal. Vic, the Italian greyhound, disappeared from his home when a car plunged into the lounge room.
Back where he belongs after the fright of his life, 1-year-old Vic is staying close to his owners.
I'm very relieved. He's home. Lots of tears.
The Italian greyhound was sleeping in the lounge room of his Bentley home when an Audi careered through a fence and ploughed into the wall, shaking the whole house.
It was just a loud bang, like something really loud, like a bomb had gone off.
The pup bolted from the property in terror. He was already gone by the time his owners rushed downstairs.
I don't know what he would have went through. I think for him to run outside and go, he would have been pretty spooked.
The teenage Audi driver and his passenger took off too.
But I would imagine it was excessive speed and losing control of the car.
As a search was launched for them, Vic's owners, police and locals began scouring the neighbourhood for the frightened pet. After 9 hours roaming the streets alone, little Vic was finally found 3 kilometres away from his home around 11 this morning on the busy Nepean highway. He's a bit shaken, but not hurt.
He was just really anxious, really nervous, hungry, I think, because he was just trying to look for food in the car.
Police are still hunting the driver responsible. The Bajaya family plans to move house to avoid any more danger.
Just to show you how easy something could have happened. We're just lucky that nobody got hurt.
But for now, they're just grateful to have Vic home safe.
Just hugs, just chilling out now, just relaxing, enjoying him.
Estelle Lewis for 10 News First.
Welcome home, Vic. Now it's time for more sport now with Matt Burke. And Matt, Australians keep on going on about how much they love playing at the Gabba. It's time now to shine.
Well, a bit of irony in that comment, Hugh. The rain has stopped play while the Aussie batsmen failed to make the most of their opportunities, with 6 of the top 7 getting starts. But the equation is simple. Bowl the tourists out to win the series after setting the target of 328.
Some words of advice from a fellow lefty, and it seemed to pay off for Marcus Harris as he searched for fast runs.
This time too much width. Just amazing timing from Marcus Harris.
But this wasn't part of Justin Langer's plan.
Oh, is there glove on it? There's a big appeal and given.
David Warner fared no better.
Sundar likes it, and so does Paul Wilson. Back-to-back wickets here for India.
And suddenly the tide was turning in the visitors' favour.
Oh.
Edged and taken.
Oh, he's given in.
Luck was on Steve Smith's side as he set about digging the Aussies out of another hole.
Doesn't get enough.
Oh, he dropped him.
Good effort on the rope.
The ball just kept following Mohammad Siraj everywhere he went.
Dropped again. Siraj up his own bowling this time.
But redemption was just around the corner with Smith on 55.
Rises and taken.
With Cameron Green and captain Tim Payne both undone by steepling bounce, the Aussie quicks would have been licking their lips.
Great bouncer and a good catch.
As the rain was bearing down on the Gabba, the Aussie bowlers were in a hurry with the bat.
Oh, it's high on the bat from Cummins. Clears everything.
Setting up a target of 328, but the Brisbane weather intervened, making an Aussie victory now so much harder. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Well, the Broncos have rejected claims it's up to new coach Kevin Walters to come down hard on Payne Haas after he was arrested on the weekend. The Broncos and Blues forward is charged with intimidating police, and it's alleged he was verbally abusive towards officers at Tweed Heads on Saturday night. Haas returned to training with his teammates this morning.
The test really isn't for Kevin Walters at the moment, it's for Payne Haas and how he handles this and what he learns from it, how he handles it moving forward.
Any club punishments will come after his court appearance next month. It was the first full day of training for the shrinking list of Australian Open hopefuls who aren't locked up in the hotel. For those that can't hit the courts, Novak Djokovic has a controversial plan. Natalie Yanidis has more.
We're 3 weeks out from the Australian Open, but players are just starting to up their preparation for the first Grand Slam of the year. Understandably, a lot of happy players around. They've been allowed outside of their rooms for the first time in a couple of days. They're now allowed to train for 5 hours a day. Of course, there's 72 players who are in hard lockdown. They're not going to be allowed outside of their hotel room for 2 weeks. That's because they were on one of 4 infected charter flights. Novak Djokovic actually came out with a 6-point plan for how he can improve the quarantine for these players and help their preparations for the Australian Open. He's recommended that players be allowed to stay in private homes with tennis courts to be able to train. Premier Daniel Andrews wasn't happy about that, though. He said that will certainly not be happening. Of course, the Australian players, this isn't as much of an issue for them. They're not allowed to train on Melbourne Park, but they are taking their training out to the suburbs. I spoke to Renee Stubbs, who's training some of the women, including the likes of Ash Barty and Sam Stozer, and she said they're really enjoying their time.
It's kind of like a nice little... We're at a college, so we feel like we're playing as a college players, and everyone's practicing together and around each other and influencing each other as best they can. So hopefully everyone's getting prepared as well as possible.
Like I said, there's 72 players that are locked down at the moment. It's understood that one of the 4 people that have tested positive for coronavirus from one of these chartered flights was in fact a player. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but it is understood that is the case. There's no guarantee that there's not going to be more players that are locked down, because as we know, if there's another positive test on one of these flights, then the rest of the plane is going to be locked down.
Leo Messi rarely loses his cool, but the Barcelona superstar was seeing red in the Spanish Super Cup.
Oh, they'll tell you what, that is a definite punch. Referees, draws the VAR, it's going to be a red card. Don't think there's any doubt about that.
And Messi was sent off for the first time in his career in that final. The captain clearly frustrated after a stunning goal saw Athletic Bilbao upset the Spanish Giants in extra time. Now, the officials wouldn't let Tom Brady score some skin, but he did record another playoff win as Tampa Bay beat New Orleans. The loss likely to end the career of Drew Brees, though the veteran quarterback had an unforgettable evening. But at least his kids had a night to remember, playing catch with Brady post-game. Meanwhile, Kansas City lost quarterback Patrick Mahomes to concussion against Cleveland, meaning Chad Henne had to steer the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are heading to the AFC Championship game. Only Andy Reid gets it shotgun on 4th and inch. And throws the ball with his quarterback.
A job done from Henne. The reigning champs just 1 win away from another Super Bowl appearance. The big boys came out to play in the NBA, and you won't see a more ferocious pelican in the air than Zion Williamson. Not to be outdone, Paul George took flight in the Clippers' tussle against the Pacers. But for pure finesse and basketball brilliance, take a bow, Luka Doncic.
A double behind the back.
That is so cute.
The Mavericks star surpassing Michael Jordan in the record books with his 29th career double. His N has finished with 28. The Mavs losing to the Bulls, but Doncic describing his 36 points, 16 rebounds and 15 assists as selfish. Not bad for a selfish bit of action there, Hugh, on the court.
Kind of selfish any coach would like.
That's right.
Big day tomorrow at the Gabba, Matt. Coming up next, it's been a wet afternoon in some parts. Josh has all the latest on the weather.
These cowboys will do anything to win the amazing race.
Whatever you throw us, we're not going to be fussed about it.
Anything but this.
Oh yeah, look out. I'll tongue kiss a brown snake before I touch a frog any day of the week.
The Amazing Race Australia starts Feb 1 on 10.
Now this is a story all about how fast food got flipped, turned upside down. Took one huge bite of that foot-long bread and said, yo, skip the grease and eat fresh instead.
Do you have heartburn or indigestion? Gaviscon Dual Action relieves them fast. It neutralises excess stomach acid and forms a protective barrier that blocks acid reflux. Gaviscon Dual Action, now in mixed berry flavour.
At Drake's Supermarkets, we've got ingredients for the first days and the birthdays, the treat the kids days and the treat yourself days. Drake's Supermarkets.
Ingredients for every day.
Breeze through summer with Australia's biggest fan and exterior sale at Beacon. Shop our huge range of fans plus exciting new designs with 30% off your second fan or exterior item. Sale ends next Sunday.
This is your Australia Zoo.
Immerse yourself in the pristine open spaces. Watch the Irwins feed the crocs. And enter for your chance to win a Toyota Hilux and Jayco camper at Australia Zoo.
It doesn't seem right to leave elderly people with fewer nurses during a pandemic, or any time really, but it doesn't affect me, does it? Please, Prime Minister Morrison, bring in nurse-to-resident ratios. We need to do better by our elderly. One day, it will be all of us.
Authorised BMOL, Queensland Nurses and Midwives Union, Brisbane.
We are Naked Wines.
We have worked for the biggest names
in Australia and New Zealand. And now we get to put our name
on the wine we've always wanted to produce.
Thanks to the backing of over 100,000 Australians. We have the freedom to produce the best wines
at the fairest prices.
From our cellar doors
to your front door.
Nothing in the way, straight from us to you.
Just like this ad.
We are Naked Wines.
So come and discover where Australia and New Zealand's best winemakers are hiding.
Go to nakedwines.com.au/10.
Cuke's baby cucumbers are crunchy, quirky, and deliciously crisp. Nothing's quite as quick, nothing's quite as cute, nothing's quite as cool as Cuke's. Promoting healthy snacks for little footballers as proud sponsor of Mini Roos.
Stubborn wrinkles that just won't go away? Introducing new Pro-X by Olay. Clinically tested to target stubborn wrinkles from day one. Trusted by over 1,000 dermatologists, exclusively in Priceline.
Now this is a story all about how fast food got flipped, turned upside down. Took one huge bite of that foot-long bread and said, yo, skip the grease and eat fresh instead.
Catherine and I are cousins, coming from the Kimberley. I think we're going to be the deadliest team on Amazing Race.
Whereas everything I push down, I've filtered through. But you're telling me not to come from the top, but that's what I want to do. I told you to start from the top.
She puts up with a lot with me.
Anyway, stop talking.
The Amazing Race Australia starts Monday, Feb 1.
Up next, quarantine tennis players cry foul. Will some players have an unfair advantage for the Australian Open? Music legend and murderer. We look at the complex life and legacy of Phil Spector. And as the Aussie jungle bids farewell to Jack Vidgen, we say hello to the eliminated celebrity. Project next.
Good evening. As we go live to air, Tropical Cyclone Kimi is 165 kilometres north of Townsville, tracking in a south-southeasterly direction at 14 kilometres per hour. You can see the rotation and even the well-defined eye here on the Queensland radar as the system moves southward, sending in some very heavy rain. Upwards of 250 millimetres already recorded from this one event in some areas of the Cassowary coast. Now, Kimi is expected to continue a southerly track tonight before stalling and possibly then tracking back northwards as we get through tomorrow. One thing is for certain, plenty of heavy rain again through these areas of Queensland. We know the catchment is already saturated, and if we get another 300 to 400 millimetres in some areas, that will lead to sharp river rises, flooding, and even the potential for flash flooding in some areas. Residents are warned to keep themselves up to date with the latest info as it comes to hand overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Moving into the southeast, and plenty of severe thunderstorm activity and some very heavy rain pushing across some areas, upwards of 100 millimetres just falling near the Queensland-New South Wales border, and rain rates of 70 millimetres falling in just 60-minute periods. Again, we're expecting that very heavy rain to continue right across the far north coast, Herbert and Lower Burdekin and the Cassowary coast. The adjacent inland possibly seeing some very heavy rainfall as well. Showers and thunderstorms to the Isa, Longreach, and the rain persisting across the Wide Bay and into the southeast tomorrow. Showers generally through the morning. I think we'll see some fine breaks through the afternoon, and hopefully we'll be able to get play underway at the Gabba for the last day of the final Test match against India. Showers and a possible storm for Brisbane tomorrow. 27 degrees, partly cloudy Wednesday. Thursday a carbon copy. Mostly sunny Friday. At this stage, Hugh, a nice weekend on the way with temps of 30 degrees.
Clear day for the cricket will be enough. Thanks very much, Josh. That is 10 News First for tonight. I'm Hugh Riminton. Thank you for your company. The project team are coming up next. But from all of us here, have a great night. Good night.
Tonight.